Hey guys, welcome back to One House Pub. Alright, well, on the bar top in front of you, you no doubt recognize the familiar profile of a Strider. This particular model is an SNG, the concealed carry version. I recently acquired this knife, not through me actively seeking it out, but via trade. I didn't seek it out specifically because I'm not really a Strider fan. I really don't have a problem with the knife itself. I mean, or the knives themselves. From all accounts, they're well built and they use great materials, and they definitely have character and a certain attitude about them. They're a cool looking knife. I completely understand why people dig these knives. The reason I've just never pursued them is I'm just not a real fan of Mick Strider himself and all the controversy surrounding him and his, story or whatever. It just never appealed to me, and there's just so many other knives that didn't really need to spend my time looking at his. And like I said, for this one, I didn't go out looking for this. I had put a hinder up for sale, one of my 3.5-inch XM18s, a Generation 3 that I had in 20 CV, and I had put it up on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Blade forums, and on the USN, and it just wasn't moving for whatever reason. It's kind of weird. The market on hinders has gone a little soft lately, and I was asking a pretty reasonable price, I thought. Still just wasn't moving for whatever reason. Actually, and the odd part is that I put that up for sale at 6 o'clock in the morning before I went to work, and at 6:30 I got an email from a guy making me an offer that I would have accepted, but my stupid email filtered it into my junk mail, and I didn't find it for hours later. By the time I found it and realized it and emailed the guy back, he was a very avid searcher. He was really looking for a hinderer, and he'd already found another one to buy, so I missed my chance. So, stupid email. But at any rate, so then that kind of threw my hinderer into kind of no man's land for several days, and I just couldn't get anybody interested in buying it. And I eventually got an offer from a guy. Said, "Hey, would you be interested in a trade?" And I said, "Well, I'm selling it because I need cash, but what do you got?" And he said, "I have a Strider SNG concealed carry." And I thought, "Oh, brother, Strider." I wrote him back and said, "To be honest with you, I'm not a real big fan of Striders. But if you have some pictures, go ahead and send it over. I'll take a look at it. No promises." He sent me the pictures over, and as you can see, it's in pretty dang nice shape. It is a user. It's not a brand new knife. The XM18 that I had up for sale was a user as well. But the G10 and the TI side on this thing are really nice. The blade, which is the tiger stripe, does have some scratches on it, but on a Strider that, I don't know, that kind of seems like it should have. It doesn't bother me at all. And again, it kind of frees me up to not have to worry about getting that first scratch on it myself. But the TI, it's got a couple little pocket wear marks and stuff, but nothing going on bad at all. It's got that gorgeous flame job on it. And it's, if you can see that or not, it's CPM 154 blade steel, which I have heard nothing but good things about on Striders. So that's cool. Now, the S30V is kind of their standard now, I guess, and that's fine too. I'm a big fan of S30V. It's just nice to have a little more variety. The only other thing I have in CPM 154 is my little Fellholter Fricky folder. So that was kind of a bonus too. And anyway, he sent the pictures over, and I looked at it, and I said, hemming and hawing. I'm like, oh, jeez. And he goes, I'll offer you some cash, so because your hinder's worth more than my Strider. I'll offer you a little cash to go with the trade. And I thought, well, I need some money. I can get some money for that. I can move the hinder because for whatever reason it's just not moving at the moment. And if I don't like the Strider, I can just move it on down the road too. And give me a chance to get it in my hands, play with it for a couple of days, and then shuffle it off to Buffalo. It's just not my thing, which is honestly kind of what I expected to do. So we made the deal last week. Toward the end of last week, he PayPal'd me the dollar amount we agreed on, and we both threw the knives in the mail on Friday, and it showed up today. And kind of a funny thing happened to me over the weekend because, like I said, I really wasn't planning on keeping it. I was really kind of just going to, use it as an opportunity just to, fondle when I spend a little time with it and see what all the hubbub was about, and then move it on. Because again, not really being a fan of the maker, I thought I'll just, you know, move it on. But over the weekend, I decided that, you know, I was going to judge the knife on its own merits. I was going to put aside the you know, mixed Strider controversy and just judge the knife on its own merits. And if I liked it, then I'd keep it. And if I didn't, then I would move it along with, you know, without any worries. And you know what? It showed up today, and I got to be honest with you. I like it. I mean, I really do like it. I mean, I've always recognized that it's an attractive knife, and I've always, you know, and I've held them before. I've held, you know, and I've never, not for an extended length of time, but I've had them in my hands before, and I know that the ergos on them are good. I don't think that I've actually had I don't think I've actually seen a flamed one in person before, but regardless, I knew I wasn't entirely a brand new experience for me, but it was the first time I gotten to spend some, you know, quality time with it and see what I thought of it. And you know, I've had it now since, you know, about noon today, and I think I'm going to keep it. I really think I'm going to keep it. I like it. Like I said, the ergos are excellent. When you hold it in the saber grip, the way that the handle is cut here at the end just fits right into the little V in the palm of your hand there. It's an excellent fit. When you choke, it's got the nice choil that you choke up on. When you do that, it moves that little, you know, notch to you know, right there. And it's not quite as ultimately comfortable, but still not bad at all. It's got a nice sharpening choil here. You know, it's a 3.5-inch blade, and you have about 1.5 inches of cutting surface. No, just kidding. It's not that bad. But it does take up a lot of cutting surface here, you know, putting the choil and the sharpening notch in. But, you know, that said, it is a 3.5-inch blade, so you still have a pretty good piece of steel out here, to, you know, with an edge on it. So, and I am such a fan of forward choils that I really don't mind. While the sharpening choil could have, you know, probably come back to here, and you could have cut this a little bit differently to give us, you know, maybe another 1/8 of an inch or so of cutting surface. You know, that's kind of nitpicking. If it came to, you know, giving up the forward choil on it, I wouldn't. So, you know, just you know, leave well enough alone. It's got a cool grind on it. I like the you know, flat grind it has. It's not a full flat. It does have a, you know, a little bit of a flat on top here. And, you know, it's cut like this. I really like the way that, or not cut, but ground like this. I really like this, the way this is aesthetically as well. It's, the grind itself is very aesthetically pleasing, and it follows the kind of the lines of the knife very well. It's like a 4 mil stock on this guy, so it's definitely not a thin blade. But, you know, for as thick as it is, if I can get the focus here, for as thick as it is, it's not really too bad behind the edge. It's better than I expected. It reminds me a little bit of a Para 2. It's probably not as thin behind the edge as a Para 2, but it's that same kind of thick here, and then, you know, tapers pretty good to a nice lean edge. And for considering what you have, you know, on this side, it does pretty decent. I'll bet it slices pretty good. I haven't really cut anything with it yet, to paper and whatnot. And speaking of cutting, look at the edge that the previous owner had put on this. It's obvious he knows what he's doing. He put a nice, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's just a beautiful convex edge on this. And it is just gorgeous. It's kind of a shame because I'm going to probably, after it goes dull or it needs its first sharpening, I'm not going to maintain that. I'm just going to put it on the wicked edge and put a V-grind back on it. Convex edges are nice, but a lot of work to maintain in my, for me. I guess I'm just lazy. I don't know. I like a good old-fashioned V-grind. It's no problem for me. I don't have any problem with those at all. So, but anyway, he's definitely got, you know, just a gorgeous edge on this thing, and it's definitely sharp. Knife's just in excellent shape. Like I said, I really do like it. So, you know, it's kind of the it's, you know, the third one of the big three. You know, the Hinderer and the Chris Reeve, you know, knives are the other two, and, you know, I have one of each of those, at least one Sabenza, or excuse me, at least one XM18, and of course my one Sabenza, and you know, I never really had any intention of getting one of these, but now that I've got it, I guess it kind of completes the, you know, the big three, and why not? You know, like I said, I really do like it. The concealed carry is nice, and well, for a Strider, they say it's thin. It's not particularly thin in my book. If you pull out it's not fat by any stretch of the imagination, but here's a Chris Reeve, and you can see it's at the base here, at the butt, it's certainly wider than a Chris Reeve, you know, than a Sabenza. Here at the at this end, the way that this radius is in, it is a little bit narrower than a Reeve, but it flares, you know, in the middle to be thicker, I think, or certainly no thinner than a Reeve in the middle. And the butt is pretty chunky. So it's not particularly super thin. It's not fat, but the Lego must just be a blocky, chunky little monkey. But you know, I like it. I like the way it feels. The G10 is pretty slick because it's that polished G10. The only other knife I have with this kind of G10, you know, this kind of polish to it or feel to it, is the Buck Vantage Pro. Similar kind of treatment. I do like grippy G10s, but this does feel nice, and really it's no worse than what a full tie side would be. You know, you get a full tie knife. Again, I'll bring out the Sabenza. You know, this has the sandblasting, so it's got a little bit of a texture, so it's getting a little bit of grip. But if this was stonewashed, it'd be slicker than this. So, you know, it's certainly very functional, and the ergos on it are so good that it's not like this thing's in any danger of flying out of your hand. You'd have to literally just let go of the knife to drop it. So I don't think there's any issue with that. Goes in and out of the pocket very nice. Not going to tear up a pocket or anything like that. You know, having a real, you know, sticky G10 side or anything. The flame job is awesome. I love that. You know, the Tiger Stripe, this was when it came to talking the trade with this guy, this was one of the things that I kind of was holding me back. I'm like, you know, I'm not really digging the Tiger Stripe. I don't, as a rule, I don't necessarily care for coated blades. I've owned a few over the time, like most people have, and I just really like a stonewashed blade. It hides a multitude of sins, and you know, coated blades tend to show those sins. But you know, on a Strider, it's interesting because, you know, Striders are kind of like an old beat up pickup. You know, when they get all scratched up and whatnot, they kind of have the charm of an old beater truck. And this one actually does have some scratches on it. I don't know if you'll see it. It's nothing major, but probably not. But you know, I don't mind it on this. You know, the kind of that showing the sins of use on a Strider. It kind of feels like it should have that kind of look to it anyway. And I think the more used the Striders get, the better they look. But anyway, to the Tiger Stripe itself, you know, it's a little gaudy, and it wasn't wouldn't be my first choice necessarily. And I even thought, you know, that maybe I wouldn't, you know, do the trade because of that. But again, I decided that I'd take the trade and we'd just see what I thought of it. And you know what? Now that I got it in hand, yeah, it's growing on me. I kind of like it. I mean, it's different. I mean, the Strider is kind of a gaudy knife, and it fits the character of this knife. You know, if you had this blade on this knife, it'd look just ridiculous. But on this knife, I don't know, it works. I don't have a problem with it. As a matter of fact, I'll even go as far as to say, I like it. I definitely like it. I like the way that the grind here is shows. You know, you can see the grind through there. You know, it's kind of worn off, you know, after the coating. I don't know how they do these coatings, but or what the deal is with this, exactly how it's done. But and it's got but anyway, I kind of dig it. It's got good jimping. You know, deploys nice. I took it apart tonight and cleaned it all up and relubed it. Put some Daiwa real oil in it again. It had like a grease in it, like a CRK grease probably, or something like that, something similar. And I just prefer the Daiwa, I think, on a lot of things. I went ahead and tried this tried it on here, and we'll see if I decide to put grease back in it. I guess I can, but it seems to have some pretty nice action now, so no worries there. It's well built. It's got no real blade play at all, certainly not up and down. There might be just the barest, slightest bit side to side, but that's probably, I do have it adjusted kind of a little bit nicer to have a little bit looser to have a little bit nicer action. I can tweak this down just a skosh and this thing just gets rock solid. So I don't really necessarily mind if a blade has a little bit of play, as long as it's adjustable. In other words, if I'm choosing to let it have a little play because I want it to be a little smoother just for fondling fun and for ease of deployment. But if I wanted to, I could crank it down and get rid of that. Then I don't have a problem with it at all. Then that's my preference. It's the knives that you can't adjust out the blade play that just absolutely make me crazy. And so especially on an expensive knife, that just makes me crazy. Anyway, yeah, I think I'm going to keep it. I really do. Like I said, it's kind of the number 3 of the big 3. I'll bring the other 2 out here since we're talking about them. As you saw just a little bit ago, there's the Sebenza. Here's the XM18, at least one of them. And we'll put Bert here in the middle and give him watch guard duties here. So, yeah, the Strider SNG concealed carry, CPM 154, Coyote Brown, Flame TI, Tiger Stripe blade. It's got the new lock geometry, solid. Maybe just a hair of lock stick, just a tiniest little bit, but so does that. This one doesn't. This is an amazing knife. This one has just a touch, but it's like what I call good lock stick, where it's like a well set lock stick. It's not even lock stick. It's not even fair to call it. It's making contact, and when you push it away, it just lets you know that it's pulled away. I guess is the best way I can describe it. It's kind of reassuring on this knife. You really know you have it, and this thing is just, there's like nothing, nowhere, no how. So it's a good sign of a well set lock. Whoop, easy tripod. This one has, again, maybe just a little bit of a stick to it too, but nothing bad at all, and it doesn't bother me in the least. And then of course my beloved XM18 with. This guy is none. He's just perfect. But regardless, I'm not complaining. I'm just mentioning it's completely within the realm of what I consider acceptable. So anyway, like I said, I think I'm going to keep it. It's a good knife, based solely on its own merits. Yeah, I got to say I like it. I'm going to just let the whole mixed Strider thing go and just enjoy the dang knife. It's a good knife. Anyway, that's one of those 2 cents, guys. Keep the change. Sláinte.